Wrestle Logic. I'm Paul, and this is The Real Deal. Mr. Sex Appeal, Chris Steele, professional wrestler. Me, crazy fan. And we're playing a little game we like to do every week called Pints Up or Down for Raw and SmackDown for this week. And what a week it was.
What a week. But first, before we start this off, there is some breaking news this week. Just want a moment of silence. Mr. John Cena and his lady, they have called it quits. So,
Poor John.
Poor John. But from great defeat comes great triumph.
Yes, indeed. But on a more serious note, too, we are going to start with a drink for the late and great Bruno Sammartino, who we lost today. Gonna miss you, man. One of the greats. All right, but let's dive into it. Raw, and what a week, though, man. I mean, the Superstar Shakeup, they've been building this ever since before WrestleMania.
Yep.
So we knew a lot was going to happen this week, and boy, a lot did happen this week. So first off, Raw starts out, good old Kurt Angle comes out in all his glory, and who does he call out? The first person in the Shakeup? Jinder Mahal, the U.S. champ himself, coming on out, looking like he's riding high. But then he was all that whole shtick about the, like, where's my limo? I was just like, all right, okay. $1 Million Man did this, like, 30 years ago.
It's
but
a knockoff, huh?
Yeah, a little bit of a knockoff. But you know what, though? And then it got a little bit even more
interesting.
It did get interesting because then all of a sudden, my favorite theme music of all time hits. I don't know why, but every time I hear the original Hardy Boys theme, now just Jeff's theme, I just get jacked up. Yep, exactly. So right. Jeff comes out, and I'm just like, oh, okay, all right. This will give him a little bit of a push to wrestle the U.S. champ. But lo and behold, he wins.
And hey, you know what? I'm drinking to that easy because nobody expected it.
No.
It shook you up. It shook the superstars up. I wasn't expecting that either because Jeff, he's older. He's a veteran. So I wasn't expecting it. I got to drink to that for sure.
Me
easy.
too. To Jeff. And Grand Slam champ now.
Nice. Don't spill, Paul.
I keep spilling. I'm not even spilling.
Hey, he's not even drunk yet, and we're just starting.
No, not at all. But anyway, so great start to Raw. Next, then, there was a little bit of a backstage hoopla with Jinder because he was mad. He was talking with Renee Young. And then No Way Jose comes out and just like, oh, man, you have to be happy. And I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weak. I think they're trying to push No Way Jose on us a little too hard. It's just not my thing. Not into it.
I just let him do his own thing and just let him be him.
Yep. Absolutely. Then next, this one's a little bit hard for me because I understand why they're doing what they're doing, but I want them to either pull the trigger or move on. But so Bayley versus Sasha coming out, had them finally go head to head. It was botchy, and I'm not a wrestler, don't get me wrong. So, I mean, I know it's not easy doing what they do, but I just feel like two veterans like that to be botching so much in one match.
Yeah, you would think, it's a different story when you're out there. If you're in front of 15,000 fans on average, you're still going to make some mistakes here and there. The one thing, I'm not drinking this because I'm still not interested in the storyline. They got to give me something to invest my emotions in. That's the part. You got to tell a story. I know they're somewhat telling a story, but it's just I haven't been invested in it yet. I don't see the heel and I don't see the baby face yet. I just see them both as baby faces.
Well, and that's the thing that I think is really, like I said, they need to either just go full on in with one of them take a heel turn and just get it done with. They're just dragging it out way too long. Yeah. No drink. Pints down for that one. Up next, again, Authors of Pain squashing Rhino and Heath Slater again, which, fine, Heath Slater and Rhino thought, oh, well, we just weren't ready for him, now we're ready for him. Well, they obviously weren't ready for them because they lost again. Although I'm enjoying the fact that Authors of Pain are here, I didn't need to see that match again.
Not drinking this one either, and simply to the fact that I know it's a squash match, but I already know, I can already predict what's going to happen, and that's part of wrestling. It's too predictable right now. I'm interested to see what happens with the Authors of Pain. They look, mean, they look badass, but I'm not fully behind the gimmick yet. I was texting Paul that night. I said it looks like a knockoff of the Shield, even though I know it's not. But their gear and everything else just says it. I'm not drinking to that.
Yeah, I'm not either, just because, like I said, we already saw that match. It was rinse and repeat from the week before, and I'm not drinking to a rinse and repeat. Can't do it. But up next, one of my favorite bits in the entire show, though. So good. Miz TV. And who does he call out? I thought for sure it was going to be Aiden English and Rusev. I thought for sure they were coming to Raw.
Right. Yeah.
But lo and behold, even though they both technically lost the week before, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn coming out officially on Raw. And I think that's really exciting. They both always wear red anyway, so they always should have been on Raw to begin with.
Okay.
But then, of course, Kurt does his whole shtick like, oh, no. And then, of course, Sami, which was, I loved the whole reading the letter part when he pulls out the readers. And Sami is, I'm sorry, he's gold. He's absolute gold on a mic. He's as good of an actor as he is a wrestler to me. And Kevin the same way. So having them on Raw, back on Raw, I should say, is going to be a really good move for Raw. And then the whole Miz is going to SmackDown, but the Miz Taraj is staying.
Yeah.
And the look on Bo Dallas's face, covering his mouth like it's like the end of the world. Just the whole thing was perfect. It was a perfect storm. I'm definitely drinking to Miz TV today. Pints up.
And I'm drinking to Miz TV. And simply, I love the Miz. From a business aspect, you need a bigger star over on SmackDown because I feel like it's lacking in that a little bit. I know that they have 3 big players over there right now, but you still need that entertainment aspect, which is Miz. Him going over there is good for SmackDown. I'm more of a Raw fan to begin with, but it's a good move. I don't think he needs Bo Dallas, and I don't think he needs Curtis Axel to be who he is. I think him on his own, like Chris Jericho, he can talk the talk, he can walk the walk. He's a great heel. I like the move, except for I don't care as much for SmackDown because it's only 2 hours, but that's okay because it's still a drink for me.
205 Live.
Oh, sorry. So let's drink that.
You know, my wife made an interesting point here. She said, why doesn't he just have a new Miz Taraj? I'm like, I don't see anyone over there that would be really good for the Miz Taraj. She goes,
Time to start recruiting.
Well, that's what and Chief said this, and I was so impressed with it. She's like, what do you think NXT is for? And I was like, dang, honey, you just got hot points. Hot points, honey. Well done. That's right.
There you go.
Dig into NXT. All right, up next, the final in the tag team eliminator. So the Revival against Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. And I personally am going to drink to this. I still wasn't complete. I mean, I enjoy the Revival, but I'm not nearly as invested in the Revival because they just haven't had a really clear path yet. So I think I would do a pint down to this if they had won. But because they're pushing Bray and Matt's new gimmick as being broken together, I'm drinking to this, and I think it was the right move.
And I'm not going to drink to this. I'm just simply not interested in the Matt gimmick with Bray Wyatt. To me, it's too gimmicky. I'm getting the feeling from the early 90s where you had to Doink the Clown and you just had a lot of gimmicks. And how about Isaac Yankem?
Oh, gosh. Well.
Oh, the badass dentist. To me, it's just too gimmicky.
Glenn Jacobson for mayor, by the way.
Yep. Knoxville. So I'm not drinking to this. So it's all you, Paul.
Well, I'm going to drink to this one.
How's it taste?
Delicious.
That's good. Is that the real deal pale ale?
It's the Prairie Island Pale Ale that is definitely the real deal from Island City Brewing Company. # shameless plug. All right, so Matt and Bray came out on top, and they will be going on to take on the Bar at the greatest Royal Rumble for the vacant Raw Tag Team titles. I wish you luck, Bray and Matt. That's who I'm predicting is going to win that anyway.
Yeah.
All right, up next then, just really quick, got to touch on it because I'm actually kind of excited for it. I don't think it's something we can drink over, though, because it had nothing really specifically to do with Raw, but now all pay-per-views are co-branded. They did that really weird music video, which I thought was more cringy than anything else, but excited that they're going to be co-branded, but once again, I don't think it's a point that's worth drinking or not drinking over, so just a quick plug there. So in the Bar, backstage, getting all grumbly about who they have to face at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And who shows up? Breezango. I was so jacked to see them on Raw.
They are hilarious. Their gimmick is hilarious, although I think it's just a matter of time before they're done. But I think it adds a comedic relief that you need.
Well, and I think from taking the Miz away, they needed another kind of really funny act, and I think this was a perfect trade-off for Raw. So We're going to hold off on the drinking because there's a match with this, so we'll get to that. We'll get to that down the road here. But then something I'm sure that Chris was really excited about because he's a big Natalya fan. Mm-hmm. But now Natalya on Raw. But the thing that it didn't get to me was how can you just have a babyface turn going from SmackDown to Raw? Because suddenly she's besties with Ronda and a babyface.
Well, she trained her, so that's how you become a babyface.
Get that, but your casual fans don't know that.
Right, yeah, a casual fan may not know that, but she did come out and say that, or they had the backstage interview, which basically stated that. So if you are a casual fan and you did catch that, yes, then you will. Because if you're a casual fan, you probably don't even know if Natalya's a heel or if she's a face anyways. But if you saw that backstage segment, she said that she trained Ronda, so it all made sense.
Once again, though, going to hold the pints because there is a match because of this coming up. All right, up next, though, this match surprised me how good it was. Ember Moon coming out after she debuted at the Raw after Mania, comes out, has a match with Mickie James. And I have to say, and I'd love to get your input on this as well, because I'm curious what you thought. I feel like Mickie James is the female Dolph Ziggler. She makes people look amazing. Yeah. That sell on the Eclipse at the end, she bounced halfway across the ring. I was just like, damn! But yeah, I don't know. I thought this was a fantastic match. They worked really well together. And like I said, that finish was just absolutely bonkers. Good sell, Mickie. Good sell. Veteran, just helping bring other people up.
Yep, and I will agree with Paul on that. She's doing what she's probably there hired to do, which is build up the younger girls. It's just like some people, to me, it's almost like Shawn Michaels or John Cena. They're helping build up the younger people to make them reputable. That's what they're trying to do with Ember Moon. Do I like Ember Moon's gimmick? No, I think it's just gimmicky and kind of goofy, but I like the match that Mickie James had with her. I like that she's helping put over some of these younger girls, some of the younger talent that need it, because obviously if you can beat someone such as Mickie James, well, you're going to have some credibility after a while. So I will drink to it because of what Mickie James is doing for the job, not to Ember Moon's. I'm not a big fan of the gimmick. So
yeah, I'm not either. Back when I first saw her at NXT, let's drink. We're holding our drink. Pints up for this one. Like I feel like it was supposed to be like a werewolf, like Twilight thing. Like at one point, I think she had fangs. Maybe I'm totally pulling that out of nowhere, but I think that it's just eventually she's going to have a little more cut and dry gimmick. Right now, it's just this is what she was, so they can't just. Well, I think they could have done a wipe to bring her up, but whatever. We'll get there. Hey, we already drank to it. So then there was a little backstage segment with KO and Sammy. It was good. I wouldn't say drink or no drink to it. It was good. It was what it was. There's no way for them to prepare because they don't know now because that 10-man tag match is now set up from the whole Miz TV thing. They don't know who the fifth member on the other team is going to be. But I mean, come on. The deck was already kind of stacked against them. But we'll get to that when we get to the match. Otherwise, another one of my favorite moments on Raw. Who comes out? My man. Dolph Ziggler.
The show off, baby.
So excited. And I know people are really razzing on him for his music right now because the record scratch. They should people are saying, oh, it should be the music, then the record scratch. I'm okay with the record scratch first because you already know. Immediately you know who it is. So, but anyway, and there was a huge pop once the music actually started. So.
Right, yeah. And that's kind of odd though because he was already walking out and then also the music hit and then there was a bigger pop after that.
I know.
And I love Dolph Ziggler. He does a great job. I wish they would push him as the champion or some champion of some sort. He might be good in the Intercontinental Championship division, except for the fact I think they already got so many stars there. I really wish that they would push him for something bigger because he does a great job. He's like, I think to me, he's the best seller they have in the whole company right now. He sells awesome. His moves look awesome. He does a great job. He is the show off. He proves it week in and week out. He's got that cockiness to him like The Miz does. They do a great job.
I don't know anyone that's cocky in the wrestling business.
What do you mean?
That's why he's the real deal, Mr. Sex Appeal, Chris Steele.
That's right.
But then it got even better because then Titus Worldwide comes out and tries to get him to join, which I always find is, for lack of better terms, cute. I like the Titus Worldwide thing. I think it's kind of funny. It's almost like a $1 million corporation back in the day, but not as heelish, obviously. But then this was a curveball for me The fact that Dolph is like, well, I came over to Raw, but I didn't come alone. Drew McIntyre, out of nowhere, comes up and just demolishes Titus Worldwide. And so, but the only thing, I mean, I love this, and I'm totally drinking to this because it's Dolph Ziggler, and it was good. I'm just confused. Are they a stable, or are they now a tag team? Because that finish, the zigzag with the Claymore together, looked badass. That was awesome. I loved that. The Zigmore. I combined the two. I have that in my notes. It's like, it's the Zigmore.
Whatever diet Jinder Mahal's on, I think he gave it over to Drew McIntyre because he came back a little bigger than he was before. Looked good. I just wasn't expecting those two together. So yeah, I'm definitely drinking. Pints up to that.
Yes. Up next, Roman came out and complained, which if they had just left it at that, I would have said no freaking way. But then Samoa Joe came out, which was kind of a rinse and repeat from the week before. But I can't not drink to how easily Samoa Joe just flows on a microphone.
Oh, yeah.
He just decimated Roman. And, like, I almost felt like Roman, like, outside of kayfabe, wasn't expecting to get torn up so badly because the look on his face was just like, oh, in the heck do I come back from that? Like, he, like, legit looked like I can't respond to that. It was just that good. Samoa Joe, he's fire. He's fire on a microphone.
Yeah, and he is so over with the crowd. It is crazy. They come out, they're saying his name with his theme song, and by the way, he has an awesome theme song. But if you kind of look at how he talks on the mic and how he acts, he's like another Stone Cold Steve Austin. He just comes out there, he doesn't care what he says, he puts people down, and they love it. And they're doing it to the right guy, which would be Roman Reigns, because everyone seems to hate him. So why not just go after him and say whatever the heck you want, because you know whatever the heck he says that he's going to get over, because he's putting down a guy that everybody just seems to hate for some reason.
Yeah, so I'm drinking a Samoa Joe. Once again, this is one of the very rare occasions you'll see me drink.
Pints up, baby.
Pints up. You'll see me drink to a rinse and repeat, because this one was worth it. Up next, women's division action. We had Mandy Rose come out with Natalya, now on Raw. Excited about that. I wouldn't say a complete squash match for Natalya, but pretty close. I mean, it was short. It was short, and she looked good.
Yeah, and like Paul said earlier, I'm a big Natalya fan just because of the work ethic she does. But
Hart family, come on.
What happened at the end?
Oh my God.
I am becoming a Ronda Rousey fan because of her in-ring performance. She's not really on the mic anymore, as you kind of realize. But they came out and told the story that Ronda had been trained by Natalya, so Ronda came out and helped out Natalya after the match. But then, that's when all hell broke loose. Ronda went off and was literally striking her, but then I don't know if this is going to be her finish, but she did something where she swept the leg and a huge clothesline after that. I popped for that at my house. I was pretty excited to see that. Like I said, I wasn't a huge Ronda fan at first, but now all of a sudden, I'm seeing the work that she has put into it, and she's been pretty good.
She's legit.
Pints up for me on that one.
Yeah, pints up for me too. But yeah, I thought the same thing too, because when she did that, it was like a clothesline, kind of a non-jumping Superman punch almost, but like just looked brutal.
Yep.
Like it was so good. I'm just like, that's what you do right there, Ronda. So no, I'm very interested to see how much farther she comes. So yeah,
Or
pints
Mandy
up.
Rose. To Mandy Rose.
Okay. Up next, I'm excited about this, but I can't drink to it because I felt like they kind of gave him the shaft. Baron Corbin gets this kind of badass vignette that he's coming to Raw, but I felt like it was kind of cheap. Like, okay, why isn't he there? Like, if they're going to put together, I mean, it probably cost them more to have all that production done for that vignette than it would have been to just pay him to be there, even if he just came out and talked. But I don't know. I've always felt like Baron has kind of gotten the short end of the stick. I think there's something there, and I think he's come a long way in the last year. Whether he was getting punished for the fact that he had such a botch with his cash-in with his Money in the Bank briefcase, but I don't know. I think he's getting the shaft, and I think this is a very poor way to introduce him to Raw, but I'm excited because I think he needed a change of scenery, and I think this could be really big for him.
And I'm not drinking to this either myself, just because I want to see where this goes. I'm not a huge fan of his gimmick. I want to see what goes on now that he's at Raw, so I'm glad glass down, not happening.
Yeah, I'm pints down on it too, but I'm excited to see what they could possibly do with this. There's potential. All right, so they come out, good old Breezango taking on the Bar in a tag team match, which actually, mechanically, was a pretty darn good match, actually. You know, Breezango actually got some pretty decent offense in on the Bar, which I was not expecting, because lately, when they were on SmackDown, they were really just used as jobbers.
Right,
like glorified jobbers, but jobbers. And so it was nice to see them actually come out on top.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm drinking this easy because I was not expecting it. I thought for sure this was a squash match just to put over Cesaro and Sheamus, but they won. And nobody gives enough credit to Fandango. I think he's actually a pretty good in-ring performer. He has the look, and then you add their corny gimmick with Tyler Breeze, which is obvious that he's going to do that gimmick, and then they get the win. Pints up for me on that one, easy.
yeah, pints up for me too. Great job, guys. Good to see you on Raw. And by the way, look on Sheamus's face afterwards.
Yep.
So priceless. He looked like he was about to cry. I will. Up next, it was I don't know. I felt a little cheaped out on this one, that they just kept Elias backstage. I mean, maybe it was a time thing, just a time crunch. There was too much going on. I am glad to see that he's staying on Raw, though, because I don't think they've given him enough of a run on Raw to have moved him yet. So glad to see that he's still going to be there. But yeah, I'm not pinting up to this. I would normally always pint up to Elias because I like him, but I felt like they cheaped out on it.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of Elias's gimmick at this point. I think he's got a great look as a worker, but I'm not going to drink to this one just because I want them to let him do something else.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it. It's been how many months that we just see him play a guitar?
Yeah.
Do something. He's got a great look.
Absolutely. And last thing, too, on that one, I'm very curious if he meant to call her Rachel as an insult or if he literally just forgot her name.
I don't know. Did anybody catch that besides you?
My wife did.
Okay.
My wife did. She was just like,
The hardcore people.
she was like, did he mean to call her Rachel or did he just screw up? Only Elias knows. All right, main event. And it was a big one. I mean, a 10-man tag match. You don't see that very often. So you had, of course, the faces. You had Braun Strowman, who basically it was his match.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Everyone, that's all they wanted to see was Braun. I mean, there was Braun chants all night, which I felt kind of bad because you had Braun, you had Seth, you had Finn. Seth and Finn are two of my favorites right now on Raw as it is. And then you had poor Bobby Lashley. It's his first match back, and, he can't even get a cheer for him because everyone is so into Braun right now. And then, of course, Mr. Glorious himself, Bobby Roode, is making his debut on Raw, which excited about that, but he's got to turn heel. He has got to turn heel.
And he's got the perfect gimmick to turn heel. He's got that Ric Flair-ish gimmick, so he can anytime he wants.
Well, he was heel the entire time in NXT. He was always a heel. He was never a face.
Yep.
The only reason they made him a face when he came over to the main roster was because of his freaking theme song. Because everyone wanted to sing along with it. You can still sing along with it and be a heel. Look at Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, when he turned heel, didn't matter. Everyone still sings along with his theme song.
Absolutely.
Oh, speaking of which, so that's who was on the heel side, was The Miz, Taraj, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. Great match because you have a ton of great in-ring workers. So, I mean, mechanically, fantastic match. But the moment for me was still when the Miz Taraj refused the tag. And once again, tipping my hat to Miz as an actor, and I've said it a couple of times already for this Raw, but seriously, his face work on that, he looked like someone had just kicked his puppy.
Yep.
It was so good.
And I'm not going to drink to this. Surprisingly, I'm not going to drink to this.
Really?
And that's just because it was too predictable for me. I knew who was going to win the moment they called out everybody's name. I'm like, well, you know who's winning. They're sending The Miz to SmackDown. Sending, meaning Braun Strowman killing him. To me, it was too predictable. It was interesting, though, how the Miz Taraj did back off of him, but what's it matter anymore? He's gone. To me, it was just kind of... And I want to see Bobby Lashley by himself. I don't want to see him with a bunch of people. I want to see Braun Strowman by himself. So I'm not drinking to that. Sorry, Paul.
All right, well, I'll finish off because I already have one other half one, so now I've made it one.
Perfect.
So that was Raw getting themselves 8 points, or eight pints up.
8 pints up.
8 pints up. So now let's see what SmackDown could do. SmackDown also had a good show, and remember, they do get 3 free drinks as they are an hour shorter than Raw, and it's only fair. Otherwise, it's kind of hanging them out to dry. So 3 drinks already to SmackDown. So let's get.
Paul, just 1 second. Let's refill.
Oh, yes. I mean, we don't want to start with
You took more drinks than me, and mine's lower. Guys, he needs to get on the ball and start drinking more, man.
More drinking. Why would I ever complain about that?
By the way, Island City, here in Winona, Minnesota. All right, well, Paul, let's start this bad boy off then.
All right, SmackDown starts off. AJ Styles coming out, calling out Shinsuke, saying he's a coward. All he does is ruin everything, ruin the dream match with Daniel Bryan the week before, calls him out. And then all of a sudden, who do we hear? We don't hear Shinsuke's violins. No, we hear Aiden English clearing his throat. And all of a sudden, Rusev comes out and says, no, I'm having a match with you. So first off, jacked, because that means Rusev is finally being put into the main event scene. So about time. So about time on that. Really quick, though, it was just a couple of moves. He got put in the calf crusher. Aiden English came in and stopped him. Then they started teaming up on AJ. Daniel Bryan comes out for the save. So I'm having trouble, like, the whole thing as a whole, I guess I would drink too, but since this is building up for a match, I don't know. Do a drink to this or not?
Well, to me, as a wrestler, building up the storyline is what it's all about. I'm drinking to this because I'm interested to see, and I'm more interested in this whole fact that we don't know if Rusev is staying or is Rusev going. We don't know. We see on his, his Twitter, was it Instagram? For all booking, you can go here and here. Well, to me, that sounds like he's an independent wrestler now, but he keeps showing up. I'm more interested in this storyline, so I am going to personally drink to this one. Whether you do or not, I'll drink myself if necessary.
No, I'll drink with you. Since you have the inside look at it as the wrestler, if you're saying this is worth a drink, then I will drink to it because it was very good. Good storyline building. Kind of like what you said about like what is Rusev doing, but the dirt sheets, including Dave Meltzer himself, says it is a work. He is not leaving WWE.
Okay, so
Thank God.
They are really going all in on this.
No,
I think pints up to that one.
Pints up. I think they were just trying to worry everyone.
Well, they got you.
They did. I totally thought this is it. And then I thought, well, maybe they're just going to move him to Raw, but I think it was just trying to keep people guessing. And it worked. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. Up next, then, Shane and Paige backstage decided that's going to be the main event. You're going to have Rusev Day versus Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. That'll be something definitely to look forward to. 4 really good workers. And I personally don't think Aiden English gets enough credit. I actually think he does a pretty good job in the ring. So I'm kind of glad that he's in this with Rusev, even though he's just kind of riding the coattails. But I think it's going to totally work out for him in the long run. So, but not really worth drinking over, although the Teddy Long dancing by Paige was really funny, by the way. Really funny. Well done, Paige. Keep up the good work. Up next, though, Shelton Benjamin comes out solo because Chad Gable is now a part of the Raw roster, which I felt really bad that they didn't even bring that up the night before. So it's like that's how we found out.
It is a shakeup.
I know it's the shakeup, but I feel that everyone deserves at least. I mean, even if they did those old title cards, like at least for each one, at least it's something. But anyway, so Chad Gable's on Raw. Shelton Benjamin's Twitter the night before said, "Congratulations to my former partner. You're going to do great over there." Well, he comes out and the heel that he is says, "My Twitter got hacked. I would never say that. I don't need Chad Gable. Chad Gable needed Shelton Benjamin." Well played. But then he says he wants a real challenge. So who comes out? Randy Orton comes out, which I was already like, oh, this will be a good match. But then Randy gets halfway down the aisle. Boom, Jeff Hardy's music hits. He is now on SmackDown with the U.S. title, and now he's going to have a match. So I think the RKO coming out was just, hey, I'm still on SmackDown. Okay, bye now. I think that's all that really was. Hope he got a good payday for that because he was literally on TV for like 30 seconds. But
it's easy to get the office, man.
Right. But Jeff comes out, has a really good match with Shelton Benjamin. Just very sound mechanically. Everything looked really good. Probably one of the prettiest swanton bombs I've seen at the end. And, of course, retains his title.
And Paul, I got to drink to this because I'm interested in the storyline. I like Shelton Benjamin as a worker. He's always been a great worker. We know that. He does have his amateur wrestling background. And, obviously, Jeff Hardy, well, you know, we all know who Jeff Hardy is. He is a great worker as well. Interested to see where the storyline goes. If you notice, though, in WWE Raw, we got the Intercontinental title going, to me, it's almost bigger than the actual WWE title. And now you have the United States Championship it's climbing right up there with the heavyweight championship. I'm interested to see what happens, so I'm drinking this easy.
Yeah, I'm drinking too. Pints up.
Pints up.
I'm just really glad to see a strap on Jeff Hardy. Up next, a nice little video package for The Miz. Not worth drinking over or not, but he said that the premiere for him is not worthy of being with everyone else's, so he's not going to come on until next week, that he's in Hollywood spending time with his family. Good. I'm excited to see what he does next week.
Yep, and I don't want to give a drink to this either just because of the fact that it's just a vignette is all it is. Yep. But he is awesome because I love how he doesn't want to come on until it's his time, his premiere. That's his gimmick. That's what he plays. That's why he's so good at it.
Exactly. All right, up next then, once again, nothing worth drinking over, but Absolution has now moved over to SmackDown. They just got a title card up on the screen. The only thing that I'm very intrigued on this, though, is because that's Paige's group, is that going to play into the future? So is she going to, are people going to be like, oh, you're favoring them because they're your Absolution friends? So I think this could be the build of a really cool story, but once again, I don't think it's worth drinking over per se because we don't know where it's going to go from here. But once again, potential, that P word, I'm going to use it a lot tonight. Up next then, Jey Uso against Harper. I can't say Luke Harper because it's just Harper now. They got rid of first names apparently for both the guys in the Bludgeon Brothers. Rowan and Harper, that's what it is now. Absolute squash match. I mean, but could we expect any different, you know? And although I would like to drink to the match as a whole, it was ruined at the end because the Bludgeon Brothers were going to smash him with a hammer, and Naomi comes running out screaming, and it was like nails on a chalkboard. But the thing that killed it for me was that if you're going to be coming out to save your husband, she was strolling down, absolutely strolling down the ramp. Wouldn't you be like running your butt off?
Well, Paul, let's see. Would you run out there if your wife was getting dominated? Would you run out?
Yes.
Exactly. Pointless. Very, very odd that she didn't come sprinting out as she should have. Plus, I don't understand how that makes her husband look. Makes him look really, really weak. So I ain't drinking this one.
Nope, I'm not drinking either. Sorry. He just looks bad now. All right, up next, though, something I'm definitely drinking, too, because I think there is a huge potential here. Sin Cara came out, which we haven't seen him in a while, so first off, it's kind of good to see Sin Cara. He's actually pretty fun to watch when he's on. But then Samoa Joe makes his debut on SmackDown. He's now on Team Blue, and I'm excited to see that because there's just so much star power on Raw that I feel like he would have just gotten lost in the mix. So I think this is going to be good for him because this is going to put a brighter spotlight on him. So I'm definitely drinking to him coming on. Just decimated Sin Cara, just ripped it up on the mic again afterwards, just tearing down Roman Reigns and basically saying, I'm going to win the IC title, then I'm going to take on Roman Reigns, and if you had won the Universal Championship, the Greatest Royal Rumble, I'm going to win that too. I'm going to have two straps.
Two straps. And I'm drinking to this one too because I like what they're doing with Samoa Joe. Like Paul said, he might have got lost over there, but having that first match with Sin Cara, dominating him, that's always good to have just to show his strength and his power. But I really think there's huge potential for Samoa Joe over at SmackDown being a huge force to reckon with.
All right. Pints up.
Caught up.
There we go. All right. And as much as I have been preaching that I can't drink to vignettes and stuff like that, I have to drink to this next one. All right. This one to me was huge. I have been waiting for a very long time for Sanity to finally get called up. And the fact that they are going to be on SmackDown, I'm drinking to it. Whether you do or not, I don't care. I'm just really excited to see them on the main roster. It's always a little nerve-wracking when the NXT people get called up because you just don't know how they're going to be booked. Yeah. But with Sanity's gimmick just being a bunch of absolutely bonkers guys that just want to tear stuff up, I just don't think you can go wrong with that. And I think there's a lot of potential in the future for them. There's that P word again.
Hey, I'm going to let you drink to that by yourself, Paul, because I don't know enough about Sanity, but I'm interested from everything that you tell me about them. I don't watch a whole lot of NXT, but Paul tells me good things, so I'm not going to drink to it because it is a vignette. I don't know enough about them. I'll let him do the drinking.
Plus, it just fit them. It was like just showing like social chaos and stuff like that. You never actually saw them, but it was really well done. Well done.
Very good.
Next one, once again, even though it was a backstage thing, I still think it's worth a drink because it was a return Now, if it had been just someone talking backstage, I don't think it's worth it. But the fact that Daniel Bryan was walking around backstage and runs into this mammoth of a man, and sure enough, Big Cass is back. And I'm looking forward to Big Cass being here because I think that he deserves a bigger push. He's a big, sweaty guy, so of course you already know Vince McMahon is like all about it.
Is he sweaty or greasy?
Probably both.
Depends if they put any oil on.
That's true, but I don't know. I'm excited to see Cass back. I think that he was going to get a push before he tore his ACL, so I think this is his opportunity to come back. We'll see if he's rusty or not, but I think it's worth a drink over to see him coming back.
I'm going to let you drink to that again by yourself, Paul, because I don't know enough about the storyline. I do know who they are, but I don't know where they're going with it, so enjoy.
All right, so up next, the Millibration, because Carmella is now the women's champion on SmackDown after cashing in successfully against Charlotte last week. It was fun, you know. She comes out and played the heel very well, you know. Basically, people were even chanting for her, and she's like, "Shut up, you guys you're not worth cheering for me." And I was just like, "Whoa, dang!" Like she's going deep. I mean, they even started a "You deserve it" chant, and she shot it down. So I mean, she played it off really well. I mean, heck. You know that as a female heel, you're doing well if my wife likes them. Because when my wife first started watching wrestling with me, she hated Carmella. Thought, oh, she's just a expletive, and that was that. And now she likes her. She's like, she is really good at what she does. And she is. Carmella plays her role really well. I don't think she's the smoothest in-ring worker, but she's not terrible, you know. And I don't know. I think she's got some good momentum going behind her. I think this is a good way to push her. So, I don't know. What's your take on it?
I got to drink to this because I think that the women's division on SmackDown is getting so good that they're going to eventually start beating Raws. And if you take out Ronda Rousey out of the picture, I don't think they really can even compete with what they have on SmackDown. I like Charlotte. Carmella has a good look, even though you said maybe she doesn't have the best in-ring work. It's all about what you look like. It's all about your gimmick. It's all about how you can sell.
And the finish. I mean, she's got that. She does a super kick really well. You know.
And I'm interested to see what all becomes of this. I think they got the strongest women's division out of the two brands.
Nope, and I would agree. And I think this was a showcase of it because you had Carmella out, then Charlotte came out and told her basically that she didn't do it on her own. That she had the Iconics. Now the Iconics, not the Iconic Duo. I guess there was a copyright infringement thing. So it's the Iconics now, who then came out and reminded Carmella. So you have the heels also saying, "Hey, we helped you," but then they went straight to Charlotte and said, "Charlotte, you're whining. You're making excuses." Big attack, 3-on-1. Becky Lynch comes flying out to help. And then what happens next? Goes for a commercial break, which I thought was kind of ironic. That it was like, okay, so what's going to happen? So it comes back, and I'm thinking to myself, are they still going to be fighting? Is it just going to have been cleared and we're moving on? But no, there was a match between Billie Kay and Charlotte, which was kind of weird, but whatever. You know, obviously we have to keep moving it forward. Charlotte puts her away fairly quickly with the figure 8. Then it's a 3-on-2. Carmella comes in, smacks her with the belt. Becky tries to help, but then another reason to keep this as a pint up, this whole bit, because then Asuka makes it official. She is on SmackDown.
Yep, I mean, you got to drink to this. It's easy. Pint's got to go up to it. Charlotte's a good worker. Asuka's a good worker. We'll see what Carmella brings.
You know, and to be honest, I think this is a 2-drinker because I think it's a drink for the Millibration because it was really well done.
Yep.
Mic work was great by everyone, but then you had the match and the Asuka debut. So I think this is technically a twofer. Do you agree with me?
I would agree.
All right. All right, I just got to give a quick note here. We're not drinking to this or not, even though I would drink an entire pint, to the relationship between Corey Graves and Byron Saxton. Their commentary, oh, I do need more, don't I? Dang. Oh, or the shameless plug. Shameless plug. But Byron and Corey, they make the commentary team there. It is so funny. I mean, they basically hate each other, but they play off that so well. So.
And see, that's awesome because that's what JR and
Jerry Lawler, yeah.
That's exactly how they were.
Yep.
You know, good old JR, he was calling it as in, you know, he had the sympathy for the face, whereas Jerry Lawler, he wanted had nothing to do with the face, all about the heel, and then they would fight. And it sounded like real fights back in the Attitude Era, so that's awesome. I'm not going to drink it either just because it is commentary. It's not the match exactly, so I'm going to leave it at no drink, but awesome work.
All right, so a couple of vignettes then. Once again, we just got the title card saying that the club, the Good Brothers, coming on over, Anderson and Gallows to SmackDown, which I think is good for them. I think they were getting kind of lost in the mix over on Raw, so I think it's going to be good for them. And then a little bit more of a surprise one, though, the Bar coming over to SmackDown now, basically saying that they completely decimated Raw, so they're coming to SmackDown, and they already called out the Bludgeon Brothers. So.
Yeah, and they really have nothing else to do over on Raw because of the fact that they have a whole tag team tournament going on. There'll be way too many. You got to even it out as a business standpoint.
Next segment, a backstage segment. Once again, I don't like to drink to these, but I think I do after this one just because I got to tip my hat to the fact that R-Truth is back. And New Day got to intro him as coming back. Tyler Dillinger was in the mix too, so we know that he's staying on SmackDown. It was just really well done. The comedy was really good, and it's always going to be with the New Day. But I feel like sometimes when there's a comedy bit with the New Day, whoever else is in it is just going to be overshadowed. Ty Dillinger and R-Truth almost stole this one for me. They were hilarious together. They bounced off each other really well, and New Day was kind of an afterthought. So the fact that R-Truth is back, especially coming off an injury, I think it's always worth drinking as someone coming back from an injury because it's good to see him back.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what they do with R-Truth as well. I think it'd be really funny because he does have a lot of charisma to put him with the New Day because I think it would just be kind of interesting dynamic. I don't know if they will, but I will drink to it because R-Truth has always been kind of funny in my mind. He's always done what they've asked him, and they really haven't given him a whole lot, I don't think.
No.
I'll drink to R-Truth, though.
All right. A little behind the scenes, MVP made a comment about that, the fact that he was back, and said, maybe I need to look into a possible return too. So I don't know if that's a hint, but I think he said he wants to be teamed up with R-Truth. So
Social media's always got us talking.
You know, and whether or not it's going to turn into anything, I don't know. Up next, though, another vignette. I think that it was to be expected with the shakeup because you didn't know who was coming and who was going. But Andrade Cien Almas, the former NXT champion, is going to be on SmackDown. He's Team Blue, and it was a full vignette. It was kind of like the Sanity one. It wasn't just a title card. Actually, he got both. He had a title card and a vignette. Ooh. So they were really pushing him, and you know he had recently with Johnny Gargano a 5-star match with Dave Meltzer on NXT. So I think this is going to be a really strong thing for SmackDown. I think that he is going to come in. I think he's going to be one of those NXT people like Rollins or Sami Zayn that doesn't get lost in the shuffle because he's already got so much momentum behind him. I think this is a good spot for him to be and to start off on the main roster.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about him. Again, NXT, don't watch a whole lot of it, but I'll take Paul's word for it. I'm not going to drink to it, though, but I'll let him drink to it.
I'm drinking to it. Uh-oh.
More, we got more.
And that brings us then to the main...
Oh, dang it. Look at that head. That's how you pour a beer.
That's how you pour a beer. The only way it could have been better if it had been on tap, which it basically was, because they put it's tapped to Crowler to your pint glass. Absolutely. All right, but anyway, enough about beer. We're talking wrestling. Beer. That's a different show. That's a different show.
Different show.
Sneak preview though. Behind the Pint is coming. All right, main event action on SmackDown. We had Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles versus Rusev and Aiden English. And as a match, sounds kind of strange because you would figure for sure AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, just their technicality behind it would just run circles around them. But they booked it well. The match was done really well. Aiden even had a couple of shining moments, as well as Rusev, obviously. I'm a little wonky on the finish, though, because I'm getting a little sick of the fact that I love Shinsuke as a heel, but I hate that his gimmick is that he just keeps getting low blows. Because he comes up behind poor AJ, who doesn't even know he's there, on the apron and just gives him another low blow. Daniel Bryan turns to be like, what's going on? Turns back to a big boot from Big Cass. And Daniel Bryan's a little guy. And watching him I was kind of scared for him since, he's just coming off the whole concussion thing.
Right, yeah.
Where he took that boot like a champ. That's coming from a big 7-foot guy. I don't even want to know what size boot that was on Big Cass, but what a statement for Big Cass to make as his return to take out Daniel Bryan.
Right, and that I would drink to in a heartbeat because I am interested in this main event roster that they have. AJ and Daniel Bryan alone can carry this themselves, but then all of a sudden you add in a couple heels as in Big Cass, and then you have Shinsuke, although we're confused on his situation by low blowing everybody. It's interesting to see where this is going. They have a really good main event roster right now with those 4 guys, and hopefully they're building Big Cass up.
And Rusev sprinkled in there too.
Rusev,
the fact that he's in there, I mean, I think that it was a long time coming.
Yeah, and I hope that he gets what he has coming. He's due, I would say, but they keep messing with us. Let's just go off of the who's facing Undertaker at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Is it Rusev or is it Jericho?
It's
or is it
Rusev
Rusev? Well, what's next week?
Well, that is true.
Who knows?
Maybe it'll be John Cena.
So anyways, I'm interested to see Rusev. I'm assuming he's going to be in that main event. I don't want to say anything because I don't know. But
I don't want to jinx the guy. Yeah, I don't want to jinx the guy. So, but either which way, main event, drink into it. Great storytelling.
Pints up for that.
Pints up. So that was SmackDown, and that was Raw this week. And Pints up. Let's see, we've got 8 for Raw and 11 for SmackDown. So SmackDown taking the title this week.
Hey, they did their job well this week. They crammed in what they needed to in 2 hours, because that's all they get is 2 hours. But they did a lot of talking in 2 hours.
Absolutely. They definitely, I feel, came out on top in the shakeup. I thought they got bigger star power. They had some really great returns. And I'm more interested in the stories there right now.
Yeah.
Although as far as the wrestlers themselves, there's still more on Raw that, like Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, I'm always going to love them. They're always going to be some of my favorites. Dolph Ziggler, always going to be one of my favorites. But as far as the storytelling, SmackDown has got it right now. And it, like, sky's the limit for them. The Raw's got some work to do. So, but once again, next week, we'll see if they can hold on to the title, because we'll be back for another Pints Up or Down for SmackDown.
Pints Up to SmackDown.
SmackDown gets it today. We'll see if they hold the title next week, because we'll have another edition of Pints Up or Down with SmackDown and Raw. Make sure you follow us. Get on the social media, Facebook. Make sure you like us. Instagram. We're also on Twitter. But of course, the biggest one, subscribe to the YouTube page. Share, like the videos, and let people know. And let's spread some logic about WrestleLogic.